A 17-year-old girl was robbed at gunpoint in a parking lot near West Nebraska Street in Frankfort on Saturday night. Fortunately, she managed to escape unharmed, while the suspect fled with only a jacket. Police are now searching for the suspect and urging the public to come forward with any information that could assist in the investigation. An 83-year-old man, a longtime loyal customer, was chatting with a young man beside him when suddenly, 3 armed robbers stormed in. One carried a hammer, another a knife, and the third pointed a gun. While the young man quickly moved to safety, the elderly man and a store employee refused to back down. In a burst of courage, they fought back fiercely against the attackers. Like a storm in the middle of chaos, the old man punched, kicked, and struck fearlessly, sending the robbers stumbling over each other as they desperately fled the store. A bold robbery attempt was thwarted just in time when 2 men on a motorbike pulled up and aimed a gun at a man who was talking on his phone by the roadside. However, an elderly man who witnessed the scene from his house rushed out fearlessly to confront the armed robbers. His quick and courageous reaction caught the criminals off guard, forcing them to retreat and flee the scene before they could commit the crime. Lost in thoughts of his evening date, a young man stood quietly on the sidewalk when danger suddenly struck. A man in a baseball cap approached, gun in hand, pointing it straight at him in an attempted robbery, but instinct kicked in. The young man grabbed the robber's wrist, twisting and locking it tight as the 2 men engaged in a fierce, close-quarters struggle. Witnesses stood frozen, afraid to intervene as the fight raged on. Then, exhausted and defeated, the robber finally gave up, signaling surrender. The crowd rushed forward to help, and together, they subdued the attacker. An attempted robbery at a gas station turned into a breathtaking moment of precision and restraint. In an instant, the would-be victim disarmed the robber with lightning speed, his movements so sharp and flawless that the armed criminal froze in disbelief. But what truly stunned everyone wasn't just his skill. It was his mercy. Instead of retaliating, the man stepped back, maintaining perfect composure. It was a display of discipline and control so powerful that even the robber seemed humbled by it. In a shocking, movie-like twist of fate, a bold daylight robbery erupted on a bustling city street. 2 armed men on a motorbike targeted an elderly man and a young woman, brandishing a gun and demanding their valuables. Just then, a black car screeched to a halt, blocking the attackers and coming to the victim's rescue. One robber instantly bolted, while the other turned his gun toward the driver. But he didn't stand a chance. In a flash, the driver's girlfriend drew her own weapon, her swift reaction sending the armed thief into a frantic retreat. Without hesitation, the couple teamed up and chased down the robbers, determined to reclaim what was stolen and bring justice to the streets. Around 9 a.m., A homeless man was quietly walking down the street, counting the few coins he had, when an unfamiliar man suddenly approached him and demanded money. The victim, who had only $6, refused to hand it over. But instead of walking away, the attacker took off his shirt, lunged forward, and pinned the man against a fence, aggressively searching his pockets. The helpless victim could do nothing but cry out for help. By sheer luck, an off-duty police officer sitting in an unmarked car nearby heard the screams. He rushed to the scene and apprehended the suspect immediately, saving the victim. A daring post office robbery unfolded in Scotland when a suspect, dressed entirely in black and wearing a black mask, targeted a woman working alone behind the counter. The man violently shoved her aside, attempting to carry out his robbery. But before he could escape, a brave bystander nearby sprang into action. He leapt over the counter, tackled the suspect to the ground, and rescued the terrified woman. Together with other witnesses, he held the robber down until police arrived. Thanks to his quick thinking and fearless courage, a dangerous situation ended safely, and justice was swiftly served. A robbery was stopped, not by law enforcement, but by the bravery of a true hero. Two masked suspects, both dressed in black, entered a store and pretended to be ordinary customers. Their every move was calculated. Then suddenly, one of them drew a gun and pointed it at the cashier, while the other turned to intimidate nearby customers. But standing just behind them was a calm and fearless man. In a split second, he drew his own weapon. One robber immediately panicked and fled, but his partner wasn't so lucky. With precise and controlled action, the hero neutralized the threat within moments, turning what could have been a tragedy into a triumph of courage. It was a meticulously planned and sophisticated robbery. The suspect, dressed in a red jacket, calmly surveyed the store before approaching the manager. With a cold, calculated voice, he revealed a gun hidden in his pocket and whispered, "This is a robbery. Stay calm, cooperate, and get the money." At first, the cashier didn't even realize what was happening. She kept working as if nothing were wrong. But in the next instant, a nearby man drew his own gun and aimed it directly at the suspect. His swift, decisive action saved everyone in the store from danger and ensured the would-be robber's next stop would be behind bars. A failed armed robbery unfolded at the store of an elderly woman, when a suspect carrying an automatic firearm approached and declared his intent to rob. Before the robbers could even enter, the shop owner swiftly grabbed her hunting rifle and opened fire. The attackers quickly fled the scene, but the intense confrontation took its toll. The brave woman was later hospitalized after suffering a mild heart attack. A bold 2025 robbery ended in spectacular fashion, swift, clean, and shocking. As the armed robber made his move, the driver reacted with lightning speed, swerving sharply and throwing the attacker into total disarray. His stunned accomplices stood frozen, utterly confused by the sudden twist. A tense confrontation unfolded inside a clothing store in Argentina, when a young woman faced off against an unarmed robber attempting to steal merchandise. Surveillance footage captures the moment she nervously but firmly pleaded with the man to stop, refusing to back down. Amid the chaos, the victim's quick thinking turned the tide. She discreetly signaled a police officer stationed across the street. Seizing the perfect moment, the officer rushed in and apprehended the suspect on the spot. Authorities later confirmed that the man had a history of theft, while the young woman's courage and presence of mind were credited for preventing further loss and ensuring the robber's arrest.
No me toques la mercadería. Por favor. Es lo único que te pido, por favor. Están ahí. Mira, están ahí. No tengo nada.